So perfect. It started. So I'm with my great friend Andrea Hagewood, who I think I've met maybe like 5 years ago through a common friend, Anna
Yeah.
Chilton, exactly. And we became very close friends because we were very close to Anna, and since then she has been an amazing person, amazing friend, and a source of inspiration, a light worker of great worth. So I don't know, Andrea, if you could present yourself to to everyone.
Hi. Yeah. So, well, thank you for that. Just all the warm words. I actually wanted to, like, how cool is it that we met through Anna and
Exactly.
have become
Exactly.
like, yeah, in 5 years. It's been 5 years. That's something. Well, hey, everybody. I'm Andrea. Like Mario said, we met 5 years ago through a mutual Facebook friend and clicked. And I hear that we're going to talk about all the fun things today that we are both, have come to this earth to be excited about. So I'm ready. This is fun.
Exactly. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for honoring us and gracing us with your magnificent presence. So I know last time that you were also doing some kind of project of interviewing experts on certain topics. And last time you were talking of Kangen water, and I
Hmm.
wanted to know more. How did all this thing come to life?
Oh my goodness. So it's been about 5 years, something about 5 years, I guess. So about 5 years ago, was researching water. I just became completely obsessed with all things divine feminine, water, myself,
Okay.
everything that I had neglected for a good, over 30 years.
Yeah.
I just
Like every one of
became,
us.
yeah, right, exactly. I became enamored with water.
Yeah.
And I used it, I'd put some on my table or an altar space and just bless it. Or, I mean, really all things water. And I did some research and found some people, some scientists who are doing some really cool things in the world. The first person
Yeah.
was a scientist who is changing, he's found an actual naturally occurring, um, uh, basically a resource. It's an element
Okay.
that changes water when you add it into that of like a cenote, like you find in Mexico and other places, like natural water. That's something you can add to like a hot tub, a pool, even your bath. So I found that first, and that got me researching all things water, and I found some other scientists who were doing some cool things, and that's how I found Kangen water. And so basically, I could talk about Kangen water all day, but to kind of shorten it,
Yeah.
the surgeon who created the colonoscopy, right, like the guy,
Yeah.
he came up with this technology. They did all this study and they said, okay, the people who live around these, like the purest places, sources of water on the earth, there's something going on here. This water, and Dr. Sebi, if you've ever done any of, listened to any of his talks, he knew
Yeah.
about that high vibrational water. It's alkaline, it's naturally occurring because of all the elements that it comes into contact with. It's pure from the source. So basically they were like, well, how can we create this, without changing the water through adding or taking away?
Yeah.
And what they did is they said, okay, well, we can use frequency plates to charge the water. And that's what it does. It actually makes the water, it uses frequency plates and it charges the water. You can actually choose the pH of the water. And at 9.5 Kangen water, which is what I drink every day,
Wow.
You can actually test it. It's it's a certain frequency. It also is full of hydrogen. It's alkaline. So basically, since not hardly any of us have access to those pure places on Earth, it
Wow.
is the next best thing.
Wow, amazing. And
I love it.
you have been taking Kenyan water for how long now?
5 years. And the funny thing,
Wow.
I drove across
Okay.
town for 4 years every 3 days
Okay.
to buy this water from a local shop here in Nashville, Tennessee that sells it. It's called Pruitt's Pharmacy. And I became really good friends with them. I knew the value of it
Yeah.
instantly after the research. But once I started drinking it,
Yeah.
I noticed that the actual frequency of my body raised
Wow.
because the water that holds us together basically
That,
it surrounds every cell of our body, and when you're talking cells at a cellular level, you're talking we're water.
wow,
Right?
yes.
So if you raise the frequency of
75%.
your
Yeah.
right, if
That,
you raise the frequency of your cells drinking living water, then
yeah.
a lot of the kind of dead, stale, stagnant energy and the crust around the cells that creates disease, that just starts to slough off.
Yeah.
And whether you want to look at it from just health and wellness and vitality to getting rid of the brain fog, or you want to look at it from a spiritual perspective,
Yeah.
and you're literally raising your frequency, making it more um, you're more able to open your third eye and have
Yeah.
more discernment because your
Exactly.
frequency's raised and you're not so crunched by the matrix. However you want to look at it, it's all working um, just perfectly. It's a synergy that the water brings, and that's why I'm bananas obsessed with it. I bought my machine last year,
Okay.
and I've been drinking straight from the source ever since.
Wow, amazing, amazing. But for example, like what were the clear benefits that you noticed? Like was it like
Sure.
energy or drive or clarity of
Mm-hmm.
mind, like all that entwined, or like what did you
Yeah.
notice that really was greatly improved?
So I would say all of those things that you just named, actually,
Yeah.
energy, clarity. I just felt more on. Like, I used to get sick a lot. I used to
Okay.
smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
I used to do have a lot of habits that just kind of like, eh, um, just kind of were persistent, like a
Yeah.
lot of sickness. Um, and it's almost like I said, I just noticed my energy levels went up, so I felt like doing more, and I also felt more motivated to
Yeah.
stop the habits and just leave them behind.
Yeah.
um there's a lot of things that it did for me, as far as it kind of helped me level up to the level I had been placing my intention at. It gave me the energy and the clarity and the motivation to do that
Yeah.
because I raised the frequency in my body, which makes it much easier to navigate all the the stuff we're bombarded with daily.
Exactly.
They're spraying our skies. I mean, you
The
name it. Like,
water
we-
is,
we're bombarded with it. So
we're
the water,
bombarded by it every day. The
yeah,
frequency, the 5G, and
all of it.
exactly. But what do you think of all these things? Like the 5G,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what is your general view about this?
Well, I think it's very, very, very it's a lot of like sneaky subterfuge, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
for
Exactly.
me, the water was just kind of it's been a constant ally. Um
Yeah.
that brought me back into more clarity and helped me open up and expand into seeing through kind of the curtain, even more at deeper and deeper levels.
Yeah.
So, like, none of that stuff, I don't even pay it any attention anymore, because that's not part of, like, that's not why I've come. I didn't Some people have come to bring awareness to those specific things that you just asked about. That's not really what I'm here to focus on. And but obviously it is definitely going on. I mean, we're
Yeah,
bombarded by all of it.
yeah,
Nobody can get out of it. We
yeah.
can just see through it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because we are overstimulated daily by, adverts, by frequencies that
Yep.
we know actually nothing about, really.
Right.
The incidents on our long-term health,
Mm-hmm.
even the devices that we use,
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, and that's why I admire you, and I admire so much of my friends who made the leap, changing their diet, changing their life habits, changing their way of thinking, and just diving deep into the inner work. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I see sometimes some of your posts, I'm like, wow, like it holds so much depth. It's almost like poetry, it's poetry, It's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think exactly. Last time you were talking of divine poetry, I think you
Mm-hmm.
are a divine poetess also. How do
Oh,
how
I
does
love poetry.
yeah, but how do those inspiration come from? Do you have like also influences or like masters you look up to in the poetic field? That
Hmm.
yeah, at
So
some points.
I have like I guess the easiest way for me to describe it is so for 8 years ago I
Yeah.
had a massive spiritual awakening, or actually I resonate more, which it's kind of a strange little um topic, but have you ever heard of a walk-in?
Walking, yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes.
So
By
8 years
going
ago,
virtue, actually.
yeah, I had what I call the event,
Yeah.
and I had this walk-in event situation, and like overnight became like on a completely different trajectory from what I had known my entire life, and so for about 6 or 7 years after that, maybe yeah, about 6 or 7, um, I started just uh, as far as masters and gurus, and I started learning from like all different people. And then about a year ago or so, and the whole time I was developing my psychic gifts, which I still am. But about a year ago, I started realizing that really my life and just life
Yeah.
in general is my guru. And I realized that embodiment was just the absolute holy grail for me and my life path. And so since then,
Yeah.
I've really like life has been my muse, my inspiration, my guru. And I have found most of everything that I post or I'm inspired to do, it's from within, whether it's, my spirit guides or possibly just like, whatever it is, whatever the inspiration is, a lot of times it'll be an animal that inspires the shares. Like there's so like nature really
Yeah.
inspires me.
Yeah. Oh wow, nature is the great news, because
Right.
she's our mother. She's Gaia, the mother. She's
Mm-hmm.
also the how can I say the generous uh caregiver somehow, as
Mm-hmm.
as the feminine also is, in our gender polarities as male, female, nature being also the great mother and the mother of mothers,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. But I mean, but do you have some kind of collection of poetry that you wrote or that people could access, or a blog? Uh, what?
Okay, so right now I'm in the kind of like what I call um I guess you could say kind of like I moved to this forest a year ago. I didn't move off the grid. I'm still close to everything.
Yeah.
But I'm doing life completely different. Like
Yeah.
so basically I got pregnant the weekend COVID hit, right? I
Wow.
get pregnant and then a year well 9 months later I have a baby 2 days before my 40th birthday and then 3 months later I have this huge awakening while I'm like laying in the hospital because I've got this like cyst that's very persistent. My body is like begging me to pay attention.
Yeah.
And I have this huge awakening while I'm laying in the hospital bed. And the next day I tell my husband of 20 years, like, we're getting a divorce.
Wow.
Right. And so I moved to this house and bring all my kids into this house in the forest outside north of Nashville. And so right now I'm in the phase of uh, building. And it's so significant. This house, we had to wait a few extra weeks because it was literally getting a brand new stone foundation
Wow.
underneath the house. And when we moved in, that's kind of what I'm doing right now is I'm building this new foundation.
Yeah.
Um, writing. So I have like four different bodies of work right now that I'm like are going to go to the publisher soon, right? So there's
Yeah.
different
Amazing.
right. So right now, all of that is not out into the world right now, and that's actually why I just post when I'm inspired, honestly, and I do it because I like it, and it's more of an inspiration. I'm not selling anything to anybody. I don't need anything from anybody.
Yeah.
I literally, it's just like all me. Here I am.
Yeah, and
This,
that's a very beautiful approach too. That's love. That's
yeah,
sharing.
yeah,
That's caring, and you expect nothing. If it resonates, it
yeah.
means that exactly it was for the right person. And if it doesn't, well, it's not
Exactly. And a
the
lot of the work that I do, like the light work that I do, is not, you're not going to find it online. It's literally, I do it all day, throughout the day, at stoplights and in traffic and at my kids' school or at Waffle House. I mean, literally, wherever I am,
yeah.
that's where I'm doing the light work.
Oh
That's where I'm
wow,
blessing people.
amazing,
So,
amazing, amazing. You are
and if it happens to
amazing.
be online, that's great too.
Yeah, wow. And now, like you're in the forest and
Hmm.
close to nature. Do you meditate or do you do yoga or do you have like a special routine to
Hmm.
keep you?
Well, I do love yoga. I love stretching. I love dancing. I love just moving my body.
Oh,
I like to like, even though I think like mm, my strongest channel is my voice channel, which obviously comes out of my hands too for writing and creating. But really, like moving my body and just letting source flow through me in whatever way my body wants to move is one of my favorite embodiment practices. But like also, like for example, we have this raccoon that it thinks that like I am its like grocery store, and I so like talking to the animals or communicating with a plant or just like with my youngest, he'll be 2 in December. um
wow.
there's so much unspoken language, but we understand everything.
Yeah.
So for me, just moving even deeper into the natural connection that we are is kind of a living walking meditation for me. But yeah, I mean, for years I did, yes, all of those things, and I am actually really kind of missing a daily. I do actually, like every day I'm in the car and this van seat has become so charged because it's become kind of like my meditation throne or my meditation chair.
Yeah.
Um, so I do actually, I would say right now, the car has been my, that's where I do all my channeling, all my invocations, mantras, you name it, it's in the
Yeah.
car.
Amazing, amazing,
Yeah.
amazing, amazing. And do you have like a routine of also maybe journaling or, for example, like there's this thing called the 5 a.m. club, which is like maybe a set of, not, not a system, but a set of
Hmm.
rules to
Hmm.
maximize your day. And
Oh, I love all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So do you have that kind of routine of you know, uh, journaling, waking up early to see the sunrise,
Mm,
reading, and because I'm sure you're overbooked with the children, and also the whole management of this whole unit. It's not easy. So how do you
hmm.
balance? You see
So
what I mean?
yeah, I don't follow a set of rules like the or like methodologies, but the 5 a.m. club, I'm a part of that. So I get
Yeah.
up about 5 a.m. and then the rest of the house starts getting up between 5:30 and 6 o'clock.
Wow.
So I do agree with the productivity of being up, an early riser,
Yeah.
and whatever that morning, like, and okay, so my a ritual I do have, I say the same prayer every single night, and I have a different prayer every single morning. And before I would even step a foot out of the bed, I've already like
Great.
set my intention through my prayer, right? And I do a different one, but the same thing every night before, no matter how tired I am, before I go to sleep. So that is a ritual for me. And then whatever, it's kind of like if you like systems and stuff, there's this one book called The One Thing. And I've been reading that lately and I love it. It's called The One Thing. And it's basically like all the top performers in whatever field, they're all doing this one thing. You simplify it, you kind of ask yourself, okay, like by doing this one thing, uh,
Exactly.
what will either simplify everything else for me or make the other stuff completely non-necessary, right? Like what is the one thing? What's my one thing? That's actually been really simplifying stuff for me because it really kind of it simplifies everything to the most important thing. And maybe that's making a list. Maybe that's journaling, building up my energy through gratitude. What is the one thing? For me, it's always vibration.
Okay. Wow.
Hmm.
Interesting. So why is the one thing for you is vibration? Not,
Hmm.
not.
Well, okay. So, I mean, even if I have, like, let's say a logistical thing, like, okay, I need my one big thing today is getting to the grocery store, getting it all put away, blah, blah, blah. That's logistical for me. Vibration, because where we're coming from, that matters more than how many things I accomplish on my to-do list.
Exactly. That's true. That's true. That's very true.
So for me, focusing on where am I coming from? Because I can see everything from, if I'm coming from my being, I mean, that's a completely healed perspective, right? That's not coming from lack in any way, because a completely healed perspective, it sees that it already, it doesn't need anything.
Exactly. That's true.
And so then we're more able to catch the hunch, or follow the little flashing light that just flashed over there, and you're curious as to what it is. And so there's everything's alive with opportunity, and dripping with just newness. Every
Yeah.
day it's new. Yeah.
Every day is new. Exactly. Every day is new. It's a new page. It's a new opportunity. And it makes me think of what the great Benjamin Franklin used to say:
Mm.
early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, wise.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it shouldn't be taken literally, because I remember that they said that he had a very specific schedule, as
Mm,
almost like yours, like waking up around 4, then doing a gratitude prayer. And his main, he had two main cornerstone points in his day, like when waking up after the gratitude prayer, saying, "What good would I do today?" You know,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
that was like the intention. And at the end of the day, coming back and journaling and reading and resting and all that, meditating basically.
mm-hmm.
What good have I done today? And that
Right.
was exactly, and that closed it opened the day and it closed the day, you know?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And for me, the prayers or the meditation, uh, it, 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 it puts what's important to me
Yeah.
in my opening and my closing. And
Ex-
that way also in the dream time, I I realize that I am sleeping and I am dreaming. And two, it just enables me to live this beautiful dream
Yeah.
awake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Life is a lucid dream.
Right. Yeah.
Ex- exactly. Andrea, actually, there are 2 minutes left for this session to continue. I don't
Okay.
know if you would want to come back, so we shall continue, or do you want to? You're tired and you want to rest, and we could continue some other time. How do you see it?
Do you want to keep going? Let me see. I could probably do another 30 minutes if you wanted to do like a part two.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. So let's meet in some in a minute. In a minute. So
All
I could
right.
exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
All
catch you
right. I'll see you at part two.
part two, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome back, welcome back. So the first part was just amazing. Um, I have so much to ask you. For example, I knew that you're also into history, philosophy, so many different fields. Ancient history. Lemuria. Um,
Yes, yes.
Atlantis, exactly, and we actually connected on that level too. Um,
Hmm.
so I mean, how did you get to know so much?
Oh my goodness. Well, that's my soul. So basically, like all of the information that I have, I mean, obviously, I just over the years intuitively something will come to me or I'll meet somebody and
Yeah.
listen to what they have to say, but a lot of everything that I talk about is from my soul.
Okay. It's inner
So
knowing.
right. So like my lifetimes in Lemuria. Actually, gosh, this has been like maybe 15 years ago. I saw a psychic medium here in Nashville,
Okay.
and be sitting with her actually sparked almost all of that Lemurian and Atlantis. It just opened up this big vault of stuff inside
Wow.
of me before I had even realized that I was had all of this ancient knowledge
Yeah.
inside of me.
It was unlocked.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, wow, wow. That's a beautiful testimony. Beautiful testimony and experience. I mean, me too. I kind of had
Ooh,
um
interesting.
yeah, I kind of have some flashes of
Mm-hmm.
first it was more I was more into Egyptian and Eastern civilizations a lot.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I knew them well.
Mhm.
But then it just brought me back to Lemuria, Atlantis, and
Yeah.
eventually, you know, how could I say, otherworldly civilizations.
Mhm. Mhm.
Exactly. So I just that's how I went there, and it became more and more clear, with some kind of lucid dreams that were not even like thought of. I didn't, like generally lucid dreaming, you have to really set an intent
Right.
to regain consciousness in your dream state. But
Right.
that time, it was not even the case. I just meditated and I went to sleep.
Mhm.
And I saw some landscapes that were amazing. And I was like, wow.
Mhm.
And it felt so known, it felt so known,
Right.
it felt so
I,
um
yeah.
exactly, so real. And I didn't
Well, yeah, it is real.
it is
it yeah, that's because it is. Yeah.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. So I was really glad and happy, but my soul felt like a longing after that, like
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
if suddenly I was very nostalgic of a time that was completely revolved and
Mhm.
antiquated in the archives of time, But
Yeah.
yeah, I do believe we have multiple heritages, from our lives here on Earth or maybe other galaxies.
Mhm.
And yeah, exactly. There was an author called Philip K. Dick. I don't know if you know Philip K. Dick, the science fiction writer.
No. Mm-mm.
Oh wow! I think you love him. You love him. This is incredible. He wrote something called the VALIS, Vast Active Living Intelligence System.
Hmm.
Exactly, in which basically he has an experience. It's based on true events in his own life. He, as you, as us, as an I, we
Mhm.
had some awakenings at a certain time, like at a certain period of his life. He was really struggling to make ends meet, and his marriage was going through a lot. And he went to the dentist to pull his wisdom tooth, off. And
Mhm.
he was in excruciating pain. So he, he called the pharmacy and for like a painkiller that was prescribed by the doctor. And when the lady with the drug came, she was wearing a golden fish
Hmm.
that like triggered a vision of him being an early Christian who, and they were hiding, in caves, like the first church.
Huh.
And and then he came back to his senses and he was like, where did you find this golden fish? And she was like, no, it's a gift from my mother or something. And she was like, yeah, but what does it mean? And she told him it was a password between the early Christians to identify themselves between themselves.
Mhm.
So
Cool.
exactly from that experience, I can imagine, all kind of experiences each and every one of us undergo
Oh yeah.
to remember, to remember.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You're so right about that. It's like it's interesting too because the more we remember, uh, the more I mean, literally, then you can just kind of move yourself to the different uh like points,
Yeah,
like you can move yourself to those different points to make the life, to draw on the positive benefits to the soul from that lifetime,
Exactly.
and it also tidies up anything that was left remaining also. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. That's very true.
I
Um,
actually remember you spoke on like Egyptian. A lot of the people on Earth right now have had Lemurian, Atlantis,
yes.
Egyptian lives, Sumerian,
Yes.
um, lots of like uh, big groups of soul groups of consciousness are
Yeah.
playing out right now. Like there's some huge soul groups here tidying up a lot of things and laying down the tracks, so to speak, for the
Yeah,
next.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's
And
very
it's funny because when I started having some, like you said, some remembrances of like these life like an Egyptian type of life I remembered was this I was not in a regular human body. It was me and my mate were here. But it was like the last vestiges. We were some of the last vestiges. We were all spread out over the earth. And um, our partnership, we were not in human bodies. So a lot of the humans would like basically like worship us. And
okay.
I remember it was strange because in that life, I thought they were all confused. There was so much confusion because the grounds had shifted, and we were kind of all spread out all over the earth.
Yeah.
And the places that we went to kind of anchor in the consciousness, we didn't realize at that point that we had trauma from the impact and the separation. So, me and my partner at this time, like we basically were just like eating fruit and like having sex like
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
all these like things, and the people were basically like carrying us around on these, like it looks like a magic carpet type of thing. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a
Wow.
platform thing. But the thing is, I didn't realize in that I don't you couldn't really call it a lifetime because it wasn't like a human body, but uh I thought that they were confused and that they were below teaching. And I didn't realize that I was the one who was confused and traumatized from everything that had happened
Okay.
in all the scuffle of Atlantis and things like that. So there's some really interesting things that when we do remember, and then sometimes it takes several years to have more of the full remembrance and having
Yeah.
that little package open up in ourselves so we can actually read. Um, because sometimes we kind of uh like put those lifetimes like on a pedestal just
Yeah,
like those
that's true.
people were raising me up, like me and my partner up on in that lifetime. We can put those things on a pedestal and be like, oh, this is so different, this isn't as cool. Well, that's not true because it worked a little bit blind to the actual things that needed to be seen so
Yeah.
they could kind of clear up. And I think a lot of times that's just going a little bit deeper and looking a little bit more without judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're able to experience the positive benefits of that lifetime and of our soul at more profound levels.
Exactly. It makes me think of Plato, who says um uh, all knowledge is
Hmm.
remembering,
Right. That's so
Exactly.
true.
Exactly. So I think even all those in those times, in the antiquity times, of course there were some schools, some mystery schools, like
Hmm.
the Orphic school or the Pythagorean school, and all these different kind of school of thoughts.
Oh, yeah,
Ex-
totally. And yeah. I mean, Jesus, especially if you want to, I mean, I love talking about Jesus. I love
Me
talking about
too. Me too.
lots of
Thank you.
different
Thank you so
deities.
much. Be
But
blessed.
he was in a scene, and the Essenes were really a mystery school all on their own, really.
Yeah.
And if you follow that trail, a lot of those uh people, they were longtime mystery schools of ISIS. And this stuff
Yes.
just goes back and back and back and back. And it was just covered up and covered up and covered up. And a lot of this came from off planet. So it's not like, um, we've just been told a little bit. And like you
Yeah.
said, the more you kind of open up and you kind of research whatever intuitively is there for you, you start opening more memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is it's the age of light. It's the age of the Aquarius, I think.
Oh yeah, we're in it. We're in it,
Exactly.
and it feels so good. I mean, the energy that's here is so supportive,
Yeah.
and there's just not as many barriers to blow through to have to like feel that. It's very available because we are in the age of Aquarius, and that's like it's like our alarm clock went off, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the massive awakening is on, and nothing can stop it, you know?
No, no.
But do you think it will get worse before it gets better, or do you think it will just get better, like, as by magic?
Hmm. Well, I guess it depends on what like you mean by worse, because I don't like what all the stuff that's going on in the world. Like you could look at it and you could say, well, goodness, like the overturning of Roe versus Wade, and then you have like the Christians that are like the ones that are like strictly all Bible that are saying no, it's the end of the world because people are fighting over killing babies. And like
Mm,
that's always been here though. Like if you zoom back, like I went to a private Christian school,
yeah,
and I remember like when I was a teenager, my then Bible teacher and lots of other people were like, it's the end of the world. Like,
yeah,
if you are always looking for proof that it's at the end of the world, that's what you're going to find.
that's
And so if you're always and if you actually kind of zoom out and look at it like the end of a age
yeah,
and not necessarily the end of the world, and you can see that the age has shifted to Aquarius, right?
yeah,
And you have that understanding, and right? Because if you know something, then you can kind of hold yourself in a stable point and
ex-
not be as swayed to and fro. So I believe that with the collective sway to
yeah,
and fro, it's easier to divide and conquer. But I don't see that happening too much longer in such big ways, because you have more and more people waking up to our strength in our shared human connectivity.
yeah,
So there's way more people that understand this than those who are trying their absolute best to to not let that happen. It's already happening.
yeah, it's already happening.
So we're at a point where we just kind of have to, just kind of how, like on the daily, even though I'm operating from my healed perspective, I still see the programs run, and I catch myself and I just put my hand over my heart and I smile
Yeah,
and I acknowledge those kind of old played out programs that are running. But I speak that truth over my life. And
yeah,
that's as us as light workers, we do the same thing with what we see playing out in the world. We see
exactly,
those patterns, we acknowledge them, we hand over our heart, we send more love exactly there, because the world, it deserves more love, not less. And even if the only I love you that we can give is to ourselves in the moments where we feel overwhelmed with the
yeah,
outrageous things that are happening, then that's
happening.
okay. That's enough.
Exactly. We can choose to kind of take a step back and just say yes, we are here for each other, even if we don't
Right.
understand everything.
Right.
And we don't obviously don't have all the answers.
Right.
We're still there, in a very benevolent way.
Yes. Yeah, because kindness matters, right? Like
Kindness matters.
whether I'm kind to my waitress or I'm kind to my child, or, I think of a friend that maybe I could say something kind to, or I see a stranger online that I want to like their picture, something intuitively, like my tummy's like that picture, or maybe I just understand that I meant to smile at that person with like whatever it is,
Yeah,
that kindness, it spreads out, it matters.
of course. Absolutely. And as also the Dalai Lama used to say, I have only one religion, it's kindness. And when
Mm,
and that's it seems so it seems so banal, but you know, just random acts of kindness, they go a very long way, ways
yeah.
that we can not even possibly fathom from our limited human perspective. The ripple effect of a good deed are, almost eternal. Um, and they change someone who really needs that kind of acknowledgement of, as you said so beautiful, well, our shared human connectivity and
Hmm.
compassion. Metta, like as the metta prayer, that all beings be free, all beings be happy, all beings know peace, and all
Yep.
be true to themselves, so
Yeah.
exactly that attitude, that approach changes the whole experience.
It absolutely does. And the more we just get like the impact that we're having, and really kind of tuck that in and like speak to our bodies and remind our bodies
Yeah,
that of the difference we're making, because a lot of times we just kind of sometimes we just forget to bring our bodies into it, and our bodies are the one that are doing all the work. So just speaking the truth over our bodies and to our body,
yeah,
right? That really makes all the difference, because sometimes we forget that our body is the one that is doing the work.
yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. It's the
So
tool.
I really like to even just like to my hands. I'm very like my psychic gifts, they come through my hands a lot. And so
Wow.
I like to even just like speak to my hands. I will literally um just speak to my hands, whatever it is, whether it's just like an I love you, or if I need the reminder
Yeah,
um to kind of like ground myself into vibration, I
yeah,
will remind my body of uh, what impact I'm having, and how that's a big deal. It's a big
yes.
deal. And it doesn't always come with recognition. And sometimes I believe that's where light workers kind of get a little distracted. It's a big deal.
It's a big
Like,
deal. It's a big
and we
deal.
deserve to yoke ourselves with that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. To remind ourselves that, because sometimes it can feel like a thankless job, because we
Mm,
pour out so much kindness in the world, but sometimes it's misconstrued, it's misinterpreted for other things. And so you kind of feel a bit kind of alone in the process. Um,
hmm.
I mean, so exactly, it's important to come back to yourself and speak life, love with yourself over your body or your certain aching parts, or, because we
Yep.
carry so much stress, as you said so well, in the early part, that we're bombarded constantly. It's a miracle we're still even functioning in any way. It's a miracle, and that miracle, you have to honor that, like
That's right.
you have
That's so right. Yep.
getting things done, that you set your mind to it and you get it done. It's a miracle in itself too, because
Mm.
uh, we're creators, we're builders, but
Mm-hmm.
the more mindful you are, the more how can I say, the more skillful a builder you can be, so
Mm-hmm. I was just talking about finesse, and that's been like that word has caught my attention since yesterday, because I believe that we go into these refined states of finesse, which
exactly.
it requires our personality. And in the spiritual community, we're so quick to like g- blow our torches up and like run ego out of town, and like
Yeah,
completely like alchemize our ego. And like, what about the personality that we are? Like, there has to be something to appreciate like before you can use it in these ways of finesse. And
yeah,
if we are so far removed from ourselves that we think that those parts of us are bad or wrong or misguided, then how are we going to integrate them and actually use that, actually doing the alchemy, right? So there's been some old teachings that just aren't very helpful. And in this age of Aquarius, that's why discernment is so
and part.
fucking important,
Yes, exactly.
right?
To navigate the storms, the shakes, and the uncertainty, because we're in an era of uncertainty. Like for example, like at the same time, you said something so beautiful earlier, saying that, yeah, that you love talking so much about Jesus, but at the same time,
Yes.
you are also very, self-aware about, the whole narrative of the kind of catastrophic and narrative of the church.
Mm-hmm.
We focus on, finding things of the end instead of maybe a new start or a new beginning, however shaky at first. Um,
Right.
you know and so, I mean, how do you shield yourself from all the uncertainty of this new world? Like, where do you, like,
Mm-hmm.
some people say now, like, you cannot even plan today more than 2 weeks ahead, because everything, yeah,
Right.
like everything is so hectic. You, like, who knows what would be next week. Ex-
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
exactly.
I guess oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Well, since everything's uncertain anyways,
Yeah,
right? I guess for me it's easier to be like, well, I'm gonna be uncertain
yeah,
and trust
exactly.
myself. Right? Like, I'm
Exactly.
gonna be in the uncertainty, but I'm gonna trust myself no matter fucking what.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Actually, I think the simple fact that we have certainties or illusions, and
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
another form of control, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a belief system, reassuring us that we know what we're doing, but most of the time, w- to be honest, we don't really know what we're doing. We try to do our best, but
Right.
exactly. So maybe the highest form of knowledge or certainty is uncertainty, or embracing it, as you said so well, and
Surrender.
trusting
Yeah.
yourself.
That's what Buddha teaches.
Ex-
That's what the Buddha teaches, is surrender.
exactly.
It's absolutely surrender.
Yeah. Yeah.
A fancier, I don't know if it's fancier, but like acceptance is
Exactly.
it's it's very similar in its vibration. It's a little bit different, but they're similar. And there's a lot to that. There's a lot to that, especially when it comes to control.
Exactly.
A lot of things do boil down to control,
Yeah.
and controlling, wanting to control, and and feeling in control.
Yeah,
And the hits that that gives our brains, and the chemicals that releases, it's a really uh it's interesting to me. I've really been noticing control and the difference between power and force and control and
yeah,
uh,
the nuance.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Hmm.
true. That's true. That's true. But exactly.
Oh, I know what I was going to say.
Yeah,
It just popped. Something that I do see, it all to me boils down even deeper than the control, to lack. Because I notice a lot of times the people who are the most forceful
yeah,
are also the people who think that there's like not ever enough. And it's okay. It's just programming, right? Like we're all going to wake up from that.
yeah,
But a lot of times, those like the more tight fisted, the more crunchy it is, the more sticky it is, the narrative's smaller, you're only seeing a little bit, and then as that like opens up, you
yeah,
start to notice, oh shit, I was being really like forceful there, or that's not real power. And the lens becomes wider, and like what we're looking through becomes lucid,
yeah.
right? So I really, in the uncertainty, the only force that is worthwhile for me is to live in that lucidity. And that's like my one thing. And that sets the course for my intention.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. But for example, I mean, do you think that we're moving towards a more mindful world, less control oriented, less power greedy, or do you think,
Absolutely.
oh,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
okay,
We're already like, we've swung into the age of Aquarius, right? And there's more light workers on the earth than there is, like, I don't know what you want to call, uh like dark agenda.
yeah,
There's so many terms we could insert there. You can choose the term, really. I don't know what's the best, like Machiavellian. I don't know. Like there's just less of that,
yeah,
right?
that's true. That's true. That's
And so there's, like, we've already swung the pendulum over to the other side, but that pendulum's got to knock some shit back the other way.
yeah,
And then it's going to kind of come to this still point. And so, if you watch a pendulum, it kind of hits the balls back and forth, right? It hits them back and
exactly.
forth. And it's always hitting the one in the middle.
Yeah,
So absolutely, there's going to be more mindfulness. We're going to be uber aware of our feelings. Really, our children, oh my god, our
yeah,
children come in
yeah.
so tuned and so woke. Like, I'm amazed all the time. I'm like, these kids don't take any bullshit, they see straight through it.
Yeah, they are like, oh, business, you cannot fool them.
Yeah, they're
They're
amazing. They
amazing.
embrace their gifts. They don't hide from them, and they also don't hide from their shadows either. They
Yeah,
like make jokes about it, and like that helps to integrate it. So
that's
like these children, and we're kind of holding the space for ourselves.
yeah,
We're holding the space for 7 generations behind us and the 7 generations to come.
okay.
So like we're doing all the space holding, so these new kids can come in here and just be like, no, that's whack, we're done with it,
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
so yeah, absolutely. Are we going to see some shit change? For sure. For sure. Those old systems are already like, have you seen the movie Encanto? That's the new Disney movie. It's like a kids movie, but I highly recommend it if you haven't
oh
seen it.
no.
It's for all
How
ages.
how is it called
Encanto.
again?
It's amazing. And in this house, this grandma, the grandma of the movie, she has psychic gifts, and she has this magic house that's alive, and all of her kids have different psychic gifts. Like one has the power to heal instantly things through her cooking, and one can change the weather. Another one can shape shift, and one's
Oh,
really strong and can like lift up horses and oxes and stuff. And so the grandchildren enter the grandchildren, and the main character is one of the grandchildren. And this house in the movie, it comes to a point where the house is just full of cracks, and it's literally something's wrong with the house. And I won't go through the whole movie because now you have to watch it. Like, it's such a great movie.
oh, you,
But that's kind of where the big systems that
yeah.
have been in place are. Like, it is super cracked up, man. Like,
Yeah, no, but it's obvious that the old structures, the old power structures are crumbling down. But the thing that I'm actually maybe more curious about now is the transition.
mm,
How would it like? That's why I asked you earlier, would it get worse before it gets better, or we're just going to like gradually leap into the golden age and then like have the new earth, the 5D integrated
mm,
layers, and as you said, a more wise human being, a more, a more mindful human being, more
mm,
loving, more healthy, and but
right.
exact,
So, yeah, we're living those timelines now. So, I live a timeline, and all my timelines are existing as a completed, like a resolution reality, right?
yeah,
So, that is that is already here,
exact,
and it's available energetically. It's a grid system, and you can anchor yourself into the grid at the fifth dimensional plane and higher. So it's not only the fifth dimension. You can literally anchor yourself like in other dimensional fields too, right? And so that's already here. It's already happening. And what we're going to see, it's, who knows? I'm sure it's going to be wacky, like, because it's
that's
already
obvious.
wacky.
That's true. That's very true. It must be very impressive to witness.
Exactly. So that's why I just witnessed it, because I'm already existing where all of that has already, it's already finished, right?
Yeah.
So, but I'm here to watch it happen.
Okay.
Like, I'm here for it. I'm
And
eating the popcorn. I'm
yeah.
I'm bringing my friends, my closest friends and family to the movie. um we're gonna go home, and I'm gonna cook an amazing meal, and we're gonna have a fire. We're gonna
Yeah,
roast some
exactly.
marshmallows.
Really relaxed and very
Yes.
you know very optimistic outlook.
Well, how that's how we operate. I mean, that is the energy of heaven.
That's true. That's
And that's how we bring heaven to earth. There can be no
exactly
other way.
exactly to
Not right now. I
that's
mean,
true.
can that change? Sure. I mean, everything can change, but right now, that there's not another way.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Uh, it seems inevitable, and that we're here for that special mission to
Mm-hmm.
to bring back the light, the kingdom of light, the kingdom of heaven on earth. And but in the process, at times it's an exciting time to be alive, but it's also very worrying at times.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that kind of duality between as you said, like that kind of carefree positive optimistic outlook, and then there is sometimes some kind of melancholy too that
Mm-hmm.
lingers,
Mm-hmm.
because we're like, when will the time come at last?
Sure.
You
Sure. And 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 Travis, like, okay. if the okay, if the time comes
Yeah.
that there is this like golden age, right? And we're all like working in business and finance and agriculture, technology, everything that we humans, the arts,
Yeah.
um, we're doing all of these things in like these communities and these tribal type of ways, right? With,
Yeah.
you know, all of that. That we've all done that already.
Exactly.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I think that's what we forget sometimes when we're waiting on something to come. We've all done that and it
That's
didn't
true.
really go as planned. None of the times. Okay. So now we're doing it differently. We're doing it differently. And that takes a whole new level of sovereignty because it's everyday
Every day.
sovereignty. It is householder sovereignty. We don't we don't have time to move to niche communities and like do all these things right now because of the actual necessity of where our attention is at. We
Exactly.
have to have the attention and the attentiveness as we are right here, right now,
Exactly.
because if we're allowing the melancholy and the longing for something that's come,
Yeah.
then what's happening is our attention's not here. It's certainly not grounded all the way in our bodies.
That's very true and very deep and very deep. Um, it was such an honor to have you, Andrea, and
Oh,
gracing
thank
me
you,
with
Mario.
so much of your time. There is less than 1 minute. If you had
Oh,
something to close this message
um,
of hope.
oh my goodness. If I could say anything, I just want you and whoever's listening on the replay or at any point just to know how like loved you are,
Yeah,
how how much